Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Professor Hairuddin and all my friends. Today we come from Group 7 Ken presentation Formal Model Theories of Educational Management and Leadership. I will introduce all my friends from Group 7. First, Hafsham Noor bin Abdul Hamid. Number 2, Khairul Izhar bin Kamaruddin. Number 3, Umi Kalsum binti Muhammad. Number 4, Kausaliyah Naidu Varatarajur Naidu. And me, number 5, Salwani binti Ramli. Table of contents. Number 1, Introduction. Number 2, Formal Models. Number 3, Managerial Leadership Models. Number 4, Strategic Leadership Models. Number 5, Instructional Leadership Model. Number 6, Conclusion. And 7, Reference. Objective of presentation. Number 1, to explain models of educational management and leadership. Number 2, to explore and understand models of educational management and leadership. Number 3, to explain the characteristics contained in the formal model. Number 4, to explain models of strategic leadership models. Number 5, to explain models of instructional leadership models. Today, society is an organized society, which is a well-organized and organized society. Human beings abound in organization, receive lesson in organization, most of the time. Each spent is organization such as a home, school, office, company, association, and etc. In short, people's live today should not be separate from organization, so they die organized by organization. As modern society now prefers rationalization, effectiveness, and performance. The role of the organization is increasingly critical and challenging. One way of doing this is by coordinating human activities within the organization with the resources available to the manage through effective and capable leadership or management. Such a management process is an organizational contribution to the community as well as individuals so meet their various and sometimes pressing needs. School organization is well known for achievement a goal. Formal model provides some information or relationable for achieving the goal of the organization. There are 5 models in the formal models: structural models, system models, bureaucratic models, rational models, and hierarchical models. Among the common elements found in formal structure are such as treating the organization as a system, stressing the formal structure, hierarchy, finding goals, rational and decision-making, pressure on authority and official position, and being responsible for superior authority. Formal model. There are 5 features in the formal model. Among them are: number 1, structural models; number 2, system model; number 3, bureaucratic model; number 4, rational model; and number 5, hierarchical model. Formal model. There are 5 features in the formal model. Among them are: number 1, structural model. One of the branches in the formal model is structural model, which is a structural models. The structural concept of this model is the existence of hierarchy. There must be a distribution of tasks, the need for the implementation of tasks, and its supervision, and there are law and regulations. For example, in school management, this model is widely used especially in the management of the community, curriculum community, where within the structure of this community there is a hierarchy of principals as advisors, followed by the administrative GPK and curriculum as chairman, as well as appointed from amongst the normal teacher, where the community consists of head of fields, head of community, and coordinator of law. Each of these communities has its own role and duty, and each of these tasks is supervised by the administrator. This is because the curriculum community is an important community in every school because it can determine the academic achievement of a school. Number 2. System models. Observing the system not only define a supporting component of the system, but more than that, it must also know the behavior and variable contained in it. At least the analysis of the system shall be able to make a conception of that system. There are several ways to be able to design, analyze, and operate a system. One of them is by doing modeling of the system. Models are very useful tools for analyzing and designing systems. As a highly efficient communication tool, the model can show how an operation works and it is able to stimulate to think how to improve or improve it. The model is defined as a logical description of how the system works or the components interact. By creating a model of the system, it is expected to be easier to perform analysis. This is the principle of modeling, which is that modeling aims to facilitate its analysis and development. Number 3. Bureaucratic models. Next, the formal models. There is also bureaucratic model. The bureaucratic model has a fixed positions, principal position. Principal is a permanent position and the bear can change. The bureaucratic model also has hierarchy and law and does not take into account personal factor in implementing the law and the provision of felicities. The problem is this model is that it focuses more on procedure than goals, emphasizing the law rigid and preventing innovations. The administrator in this bureaucratic system is appointed based on qualification loyal to the organization, patterning what he wants from his career, carry importance of professional skills. He is also aware of the limitation of power and scope. He also knows he is just a task and administrator based on organizational law and there are limitations. Number 4. Rational models. The rational model is to make rational decisions based on scientific information obtained. So this rational model can reduce the chance of error, uncertainties, and assumption. This approach can also reduce the risk of failure, as an evaluation and selection of the process is based on science, the logical information and knowledge. Rational models can help decisions makers to deal with difficult problems in complex environments. The model is a step-by-step outline of the approach required to determine problems, identify weighting criteria, and result. List a variety of alternatives, consider the present and future consequences of each alternative, and arrange alternative components according to priorities. By using this model, the issue will be addressed by solving into a simple step, and all aspects of the issue will be considered with a possible solution and then make a final decision. Number 5. Hierarchical models. This model is based on the concept of the tree structure, consisting of parts such as root nodes at the top and leaf nodes at the very bottom. The section is a record of information that will relate to other parts such as interdependence, a father and son. Each information record is a segment that must have only one father, and each relationship between his father and child must he in the form on a none of many relationship. In conclusion, all 5 education management models have their own characteristics and can certainly be applied in school management.
Goal. Schools are viewed as goal-seeking organization. According to Begley, 2008, Educational leaders should keep fundamental purpose in mind. Goal setting should take into account the interests of the children, their abilities, the peculiarities of the social environment. Fishman, 1999. Then, structure. Work of teachers and staff defined by their role within structure. Official structure tend to be hierarchical, means that they must include distribution of duties, the need for execution of duties, supervisions, laws and regulation. Every teachers and staff accountable to principal, who are accountable to superintendents, who is accountable to the school board. Next, environment. There are two types of environment in the formal model. First, closed system and second, open system. Closed system accountability is emphasized more towards school official rather than student and parent, while open system are interactive and respond to the changing environment while communicating with the local community. Leadership. Leadership authority are based on position. The person at the apex of the hierarchy set the tone of the organization. Leadership decisions are made through a rational process. Principals and superintendents are the public face of the organization and are expected to behave accordingly. Next, title, limitation of formal model. It may be unrealistic to characterize schools and colleges as goal-oriented organizations. Is decision-making really a rational process? The contribution of individuals may be underestimated or ignored. It is assumed that power resides at the apex of the pyramids. Formal models are based on the assumption that the organization are relatively stable. And the last, potential application in Malaysian school. Formal models have different approaches in terms of concept in school management. Definitely can be applied in school management in Malaysia. This is because school management is very broad field and covers many aspects such as curriculum, co-curriculum, student affairs and others. That's all my parts. Thank you.
Everyone, I'm Kausalya Naidu Varadaraju Naidu, would like to present on managerial leadership. Before we move into managerial leadership, let's focus what is leadership. Okay, leadership is a function of role. Some roles carry leadership accountability and some do not. Dr. Jacobs designated the inseparability of managerial role and the leadership accountability it carries by the term of managerial leadership. Now, let's look into what is managerial leadership. Managerial leadership is a process whereby the manager sets the purpose or direction for his or her subordinates and enables them to move along together in that direction with competence, full commitment and enthusiasm, dealing with obstacles they meet on the way. There are 7 managerial accountabilities, which are: first one is managerial planning and task assignment. Second is coaching. Third is continual improvement. Fourth is performance appraisal. Fifth is context setting. Sixth one, feedback. The last one is managerial meeting. But there are 3 we can achieve by apply this managerial leadership in school. First one is enable everyone work together, which is kerjasama. Second is everyone move along together, which is hala tuju. Third one is desired outcomes are achieved, which is mencapai matlamat. Okay. Okay, now let's look into managerial leadership model, which is managerial grid model, are also known as leadership grid, developed by Robert R. Blake and Jen Mountain in the early of 1960s. Okay, this is the managerial grid model based on the concern for people, which are in y-axis, and the concern for production, which in x-axis. There are 5 different leadership styles are given. Okay, let's look into what are the 5 leadership styles. First one is impoverished management, okay, which are lay on, you can see here 1:1, impoverished management. Managers with this approach are low on both the dimension and exercise minimum effort to get the work done from subordinates. Okay, let's look. The second one is task management, 9:1. Okay, you can see here 9:1. Also called dictatorial or parish style. Here leaders are more concerned about production and have less concern for people. They only have more concern for production, but less concern for people. So it's score in 1. Okay. Third one is middle of the road, 5:5. Okay. This is called middle of the road. This is basically a compromising style wherein the leader tries to maintain a balance between goals of company and the needs of people. The leader does not push the boundaries of achievement, resulting in average performance for organization. Here neither employee or production needs are fully met. Okay, let's look on the fourth one. Fourth one is a country club, 1:9. Okay, this is a collegial style characterized by low task and high people orientation, where the leader gives thoughtful attention to the needs of people, thus providing them with a friendly and comfortable environment. So you got it. The last one is team management. Okay, 9:9. Team management is characterized by high people and task focus. The style is based on the theory of Y of McGregor and has been termed as most effective style according to Black and Mountain. The leader feels the empowerment, commitment, trust, and respect are the key elements in creating a team atmosphere which will automatically result in high employee satisfaction and also production. Okay, now by using managerial grid model, it helps manager to analyze their own leadership style. Okay, there are aim of managerial grid model, which is it helps a leader to analyze his or her leadership style and its effect on team's productivity and also motivation. Okay, there are, okay, just now we have looked on the base on a concern for people and concern for production. Okay, let's look into advantages. There are 3 advantages which I can identify. First one is identifying managerial styles. Managerial grid is very useful in identifying and classifying managerial style. Second is managerial grid. It can be used as an instrument of organizational development through training programs, conference, and extra. Third one is it has been used successfully in improving the the attitudes and behavior of people throughout an organization. Okay, if there is an advantages, sure there will be some limitation. Let's look into the limitation. There are three limitations. First one is managerial grid does not indicate why a manager's styles fall in one or other part of the grid. Second, there are more dimensions of leadership that can be relevant, but they are only focusing into 5. Okay. Number third, the model basically neglects the significance of the internal and external constraints, context, circumstances, and situation. Okay, let me conclude about managerial grid model. The managerial grid model is viewed as an effective tool to identify and develop leadership qualities among managers. Managerial grid, especially the team leader model, has enabled many organizations to determine their multi-phase training as well as development programs required to achieve specific leadership behavior. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning, Prof. Dr. Hairudin Muhammad Ali and fellow teachers. I'm Hafsham Nur Abdul Hamid, continuing my group presentation with my topic, Strategic Leadership Model. So I will start with the definition by Bowl 2004. Strategic Leadership Model is a series of decisions and activities, both process-oriented and substantive in nature. It forges a bridge between the past, the present, and the future, and it also develops, focuses, and enables an organization's structural human and social capital and capabilities to meet real-time opportunities and threats. Strategic leadership model makes sense of and gives meaning to environmental turbulence and ambiguity and provides a vision and roadmap that allows an organization to evolve and innovate. So in short, strategic leadership is a leader's ability to visualize, to plan, to lead, and to make the best out of the resources that they have to execute strategies efficiently and successfully. So next, we look at the diagram, ways of acting in organization by Hugh and Beatty. Strategic leaders merge their strategic plan to their strategic management. So in my view, the team exemplifies strategic leadership if all the members of the team think, act, and interact in ways that are focused on creating sustainable competitive advantage for the organization. So it differs from ordinary leadership in three ways. The first one, broad scope in defining the operational division in the organization. Second, it considers the impact for long run. And third, it involves of the huge change inside and outside of the organization itself. Strategic leaders should understand that strategy is a learning process rather than an event, and that effective strategic leadership involves a dynamic interplay between thinking strategically, acting strategically, building strategic relationships, and influencing within the relationships with a view to the long run, and constantly learning and what they need to do to get to achieve their vision. From the diagram also we can see that all the elements here is the key strategic action that are interconnected and influenced by each other in multiple ways of one to another. Next, we look at the limitation of strategic leadership model. So the first one, lack of flexibility. It can be difficult for strategic leaders to change the framework, the plan, if something needs to be changed, need to be altered. Next, the difficulty predicting the future. So it's not always easy, or it's not always possible to predict the future accurately. And the third one can be expensive. Successful strategic plans can increase profit and overall business success. So in our field, we are in education field. So schools are prone to know that the outcomes of the students' achievement. So if we have our plan that doesn't work, it could result in losing the pace that we expected to achieve. And the fourth one, stalled growth. So if strategic leaders are too conservative or too liberal on taking risks, so it can it can hamper the organization's growth or prevent the organization from seeing the problems that they are facing, or that the problems that they will face later. And lastly, lack of presence. So if strategic leaders struggle with finding the balance between looking toward the future, it kept them from addressing the current problems in the organizations. Next, the potential application of strategic leadership model in Malaysian school. So it is possible, and MOE implementing it with the principals and the headmasters through training and upskilling. So in Malaysian context, it shows that there are many factors that influence the principal strategic leadership and students' outcome. So we focus on the students' outcome. The first one, the principals and headmasters are taught and skills, upskilling. The second, it is an effort to ensure effort from MOE to ensure that the principals knows how to lead the school. So strategic principals should know how to develop a strategic plan for the school and practice a systematic planning, administration, and management. So I suppose that teachers are very familiar now with the strategic plan in departments, for example, in curriculum, co-curriculum, and student affairs. So we set up goals to achieve within stipulated time. And MOE also has undertaken efforts to ensure that every school leader is at a high level of readiness to administer the school. So it contains in PPPM 2013 to 2025, in which it contains attain higher quality of education through the 11 shifts. So MOE expect all the parties that participate to participate, to work together, especially educators towards the achieving the goals and MOE aspirations. And MOE also ensure that every school has a high quality leader, whether it is a principal or a headmaster, and that they will be assisted by the middle leadership regardless of the location and level of school performance. So the school leadership team aims to provide the best leadership possible to improve the overall school performance. And lastly, all these are operated with a tool known as SKPMG2 or Standard Quality Pendidikan Malaysia Gelombang Kedua, second wave of Malaysian education quality standard. So in conclusions, the principals and headmasters plays important roles in which they should incorporate all the key strategic leadership actions in leading their schools to high achievements. I think that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. My name is Khairul Izhar bin Kamaruddin and we'll continue the presentation on instructional leadership model. The word instructional is originated from instruction, which means teaching. In school context, teaching is more commonly used than the term instructional. In short, it is any effort towards encouraging and supporting parties that are involved in the teaching and learning process to achieve school goal and developing a strong school social system. Here, we can see there are three main instructional leadership models. The first one is Murphy's instructional leadership model. It was constructed in 1990. It contains 4 dimensions with 16 functions. The second instructional leadership model is Weber's instructional leadership model. This model constructed in 1996. The last or the most recent instructional leadership model is Hellinger's instructional leadership model. This model has been constructed in 2011. As I already told, Hellinger's instructional leadership model is the latest and it has been tested empirically on many researchers and has the widest usage in measuring a school leader's instructional leadership level. Secondly, this model has created a research instrument that is strong, stable, and has become one of the research instruments that has been widely used in the area of school leadership and management, which is Principal Instructional Management Rating Scale, PIMRS. The other 2 models were not empirically tested, so I would like to explain deeper on Hellinger's instructional leadership model. As you can see here, the first dimension is defining school goal. The dimension of defining school goal has 2 functions, as stated previously, which are constructing school goal and spreading it. Through this dimension, the main role of school leaders is to set school goal. School leaders should know what to be achieved by the school and the direction they are heading to. This dimension focuses on leaders' role in carrying out their responsibilities together with the people under them to ensure the school has clear and measurable goal and has a timeline for students' academic process. The second dimension is managing instructional program. This dimension focuses on controlling and coordinating things related to curriculum and teaching. According to James and Balachandran, 2013, this dimension is the biggest task and challenges that school leaders have to face because the curriculum and teaching is the core function of a school. Failure in accomplishing the task of managing instructional program efficiently and effectively will cause failure in getting the desired outcome on students' academic achievement. There are 3 functions of this dimension, which are firstly, supervising and evaluating instructions, secondly, coordinating curriculum, and finally, monitoring students' progress. According to Hellinger, 2011-2000, the first function of this dimension, which is supervising and evaluating instruction, refers to the school leader's initiative to ensure that the school goal can be fully translated and practiced in the process of teaching and learning in the classroom. For the second function, which is coordinating curriculum, school leaders should align teaching objectives with learning activities in classroom. assessment process, and coordinating instructional program. School leaders should also assign several individuals who would be responsible in coordinating curriculum, analyzing students' examination results, and making decisions to choose curriculum materials as teaching aids. Furthermore, the third function, which is monitoring students' progress, school leaders should hold a continuous discussion with teachers regarding students' academic development and achievement, giving specific opinions and initiate ways of improvements for the teaching and learning process to enhance students' achievement. The third dimension is promoting school climate. There are 5 functions in this dimension, which are: number 1, protecting instructional period; 2, always seen or visible; 3, providing incentives for teachers; 4, promoting professional development; and 5, providing incentives for students' learning. According to Hellinger 2011-2000, the third dimension refers to norms and attitudes of teachers and students that affect learning process in school. School leaders should create a school climate directly or indirectly through their capability in maintaining visibility to ease communication, discussion, and to provide platform to approach teachers and students, creating reward system to boost the school's community's productivity towards enhancing students' academic achievement, creating clear standards comprising the school's expectation for the students, protecting teaching period, and taking part in development programs for the school community that are aligned with the school mission. Next, I will focus on the limitations of instructional leadership model and later the potential application in Malaysia. The first limitation is that this leadership model is hierarchical, which comprises top-down relationship of a school leader and teachers. Based on the practice of instructional leadership, school leaders will act as curriculum expert and supervisor of teaching process and curriculum. The top-down relationship between the expert or supervisor and teachers will create discomfort among teachers, especially when the school leaders are intending to monitor the teaching and learning process or while checking their work outcome. The second limitation is difficulty of school leaders to be experts in all fields of teaching or curriculum. For example, if the school leader is majoring in chemistry, he or she might have difficulties in evaluating a teacher who is teaching accounts because the school leader has zero knowledge in teaching of accounts subject. Now, I will focus on the potential application of the leadership model in Malaysia. Under the third NKRA, or also known as Education NKRA, there are 4 sub-NKRAs, and the 4th sub-NKRA is identifying and rewarding high-performing school and a new deal for school leaders who succeeded to improve school's excellence. Based on this sub-NKRA, it is obvious, especially in the 4th NKRA, that the aspect of principals leadership is a vital element in upholding the education system in Malaysia. Ministry of Education has underlined 3 approaches to enhance student success through the enhancement of school leaders' performance. Ministry of Education has underlined 3 approaches to enhance student success through the enhancement of school leaders' performance. The school leaders act as the main agent of change in ensuring the vision and mission can be realized parallel to the school's goal for student success. This covers the first dimension. Next, school leaders need to act as an instructional leader who is actively involved in teachers' development through planning, coordinating, and evaluating teaching and learning process in school, which is stated in the second dimension. The final approach is school leaders have to create a conducive school environment and support teaching and learning process inside and outside classroom, which is the third dimension in the Hellinger's instructional leadership model. That is about instructional leadership model, where I focus on Hellinger's model. That's all from me. Okay, these are the references for our presentation, and with that, thank you very much.